Welcome to the Ideas podcast series funded by TU Rise. I'm Dr. Valerie McTaggart, a lecturer and researcher at Atlantic Technological University. RISE at ATU is co-funded by the Government of Ireland, European Union, Northern and Western Regional Assembly and the Higher Education Authority. Welcome to the Ideas podcast. Today I'm being joined by Sandi, and Sandi's looking at digitalisation and social enterprise ecosystems to develop a framework to promote social enterprise in remote regions. So good day, Sandi.
Hi, Valerie.
You're very welcome to the Ideas podcast series. Could you start by introducing yourself, who you are, what you're studying and what your PhD is all about?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sandi, and I'm originally from Myanmar. So I'm currently pursuing my PhD at ATU University, based in Letterkenny. Before this, I completed my master's degree at the University of Polonia in Hungary. So currently, my research focus is about social enterprise ecosystem and digitalizations, particularly how the social enterprises address all these social, environmental, and societal challenges through their work. And I'm especially interested in how these different actors in these social enterprise ecosystems connect, collaborate, and support one another to create the positive social impact. And I also explore how digital technologies are transforming these interactions, these collaborations, and helping social enterprises reach more people, share knowledge, and collaborate in innovative ways.
And what sparked your interest in the topic to look at digital technology and social enterprise, especially in remote or rural areas?
My interest in exploring these digital technologies and digital transformations in social enterprises began during my very previous last job in Budapest, where I have to work on all these EU-funded projects. So that experience exposed me to like various initiatives aiming at supporting innovations, digital transformations, and social impact across different European regions as well as the African regions. So I became particularly interested in how these digital tools were being integrated into social projects and how the technology can be like strengthen the capacity and sustainability of all these social enterprises. And these experiences like sparked my motivations on to study on my topic, which is all about digitalizations and social enterprises.
And for those listeners out there who may not be familiar with what exactly a social enterprise is, how is it different from a regular business or a charity?
That is a very common questions when I ask what is social enterprise. When I talk my thesis is all about social enterprise. The social enterprise are the businesses that is like very different from traditional businesses, and these social enterprises are aimed to like solve our social, societal, and environmental challenges. So it operates like any other businesses, like selling products or services, but instead of focusing only on profit, it reinvests what it earns to create positive social impacts, whether that is like helping people finding jobs, protecting the environment, or just supporting the local communities. So it's very different from traditional businesses whose objective is just to get profit for their owners or for their stakeholders. And it's also very different. It's also different from charity because charity mostly they will be relying on the donations. And then for our like social enterprises, we have our own income, which is from through their products and services.
So it's effecting positive social change through making profit to reinvest back into the social enterprise.
Yes.
And when we talk about our rural regions and we think about it, why is it important for us to look at remote regions when talking about social enterprises?
In fact, like these rural and remote areas are really full of like hidden potential. And these places are where community spirit is incredibly very strong. However, they have limited access to resources, fundings, and infrastructures. So social enterprises often come in to fill all these gaps by creating local jobs opportunities and providing essential services, or simply just finding ways to keep communities very vibrant. What is unique about these rural social enterprises is like how deeply they are connected to their people and the place. and they understand the local needs in a way that outside organizations might not be able to understand. And however, they also face unique challenges like they can be like limited networks and like digital capability skills and everything. So for me, studying like how they adapt, collaborate, and using digital technology is like isn't just about just technology. It's about resilience, learning how they are resilient and innovating, and how the community strengths are working.
And I love what you say about that in rural communities, because the strength of that local community is very, very powerful. And it what make rural areas quite successful, whether it's in something like this or whether it's in any kind of community endeavour. So when we talk about digitalisation, what do we actually mean in this context? Are we talking about websites or apps, social media, or something a little bit bigger?
When I say digitalizations, it can mean like a lot of things. It can be like as simple as having a website or using social media to connect with the community, like to recruit the volunteers. But it can also be much bigger, like digitalizing their products and services or transforming how the organization operates internally. So it's all about making the process more efficient, reaching more people effectively, and ultimately like strengthening their social missions and reaching their social impact goals.
And I'm sure some of these social enterprises would be further on their digital transformation journey than others. There will be others that would be, maybe starting with just a social media presence, whereas others might be quite used of using digital technologies, and then they may be a bit further on their journey. So when we're looking at some of the biggest challenges that social enterprises in remote areas face when it comes to using digital technology, what do you think you are from the work you've done so far, the biggest challenges that they encounter?
Actually, the one of the main challenges is more like digital capabilities and like technical skills. Because most of these social enterprises are small kids and they often don't have like IT experts or very professional digital tools for them to use. And on top of that, infrastructure can be a problem as well, like limited internet connectivity, outdated hardware, or like lack of funding for digital investments. All these are the biggest challenges. So even if there is like most of the social enterprises, they have motivation to go to digitals, but these barriers can make it feel overwhelming for them. And it's not just about willingness, it's about having the right skills, support, and resources to make the digitalization actually work. So these are the biggest challenges.
And on the flip side of that, what are some of the biggest benefits or success stories you've seen by these social enterprises when they embrace these digital technologies?
The benefits can be very significant because when social enterprises successfully go digital, they can reach wider audiences, streamline their operations, and even create like new income streams. As for example, like in Ireland, there's this network support organizations. They brought in these IT experts for a few days to work for like in every week. They ask these IT experts to work for them. So they actually they cannot really hire these IT expert as a full time employee. So they just due to the budget constraints. However, by hiring all these experts for even for a few days, this allow them to gain like new perspective and digital skills that helping the organizations modernize the process, approach the challenges in a very innovative ways because these experts can give them the ideas. So these are the good practices that we are currently practicing in Ireland. And similarly, in one of the Latvia or social enterprise networking support organizations also like using ChatGPT for their marketing campaigns so that they don't really need to hire like marketing experts anymore, but like digitalization, these ChatGPT AI can help them and all these things. So where social enterprises embrace like digital tools, the impact can be very transformative. And yeah, so overall it's very overall it's very good to see people are using all these, even though it's AI, all these IT experts, they are using in a way that to improve their social enterprises.
And it's really interesting because AI, it's lots of conversations about it as well. And how social enterprises can capitalize on what is probably the free version of these tools as well, to do some of their administration type work to free up their time. Because as you said, a lot of the people that are involved in a lot of this work are volunteers perhaps who start up some of this work. So that's a real positive for rural regions for sure. So we had Farron on the last day and he spoke about, regional, parity, how regions can differ in their parity, and different regions would have more opportunities, the likes of large urban centres than rural areas like the Western Seaboard here. So do you think that digitalisation can help level that playing field between urban and rural areas?
I would say yes, digitalization has that potential. Like it can help social enterprises access the markets, networks, and resources that were previously out of reach. But I will say it's not automatic. So it depends on providing like right training, infrastructures, and ongoing support. If we done it like thoroughly, digital tools can help rural social enterprises like compete more fairly, share their stories, and scale their impact while still preserving the unique strengths of their own communities. It's more like empowering and not replacing, and making sure that the digital shift works for everyone, not just urban hubs. Yeah.
And that's really important. It's about empowering local communities to be able to take ownership of this and bring in the IT expertise that you mentioned just there previously, and help them show members of the social enterprise what this technology can do, and empower them to be able to go and do it for themselves for the benefit of their communities. So it's a real positive thing for rural communities and all communities, in fact. So now you're doing your research. So how are you going to do this research? Are you going to interview people, visit communities, or working with particular organisations?
Uh, for as of now, I'm currently like aiming to conduct interviews with a range of social enterprise ecosystem actors, which is which is like social entrepreneurs themselves, and also social enterprises, and also the networking organizations that support that which are supporting all these social enterprises, and local development agencies. And the idea is like to hear firsthand about their experiences and the challenges they face, and the strategies that they are currently using, and how they are engaging with the digital tools. So from after I conducted all these face-to-face interviews and focus groups interviews with them, with all these social enterprise ecosystem actors, these conversations really bring the ecosystem to life and help me understand how all these actors are interacting and connecting to achieve their social impacts by using digitalization tools.
That would be really interesting. So, what kind of regions are you just basing it solely in Ireland, or are you just looking outside Ireland?
Currently I'm focusing on a mix of regions in Ireland in both rural and urban areas, and I'm also kicking on an international perspective. But the most important part of my study is also the Northern Ireland, because I'm currently based in Letterkenny, and we have the border, and we are so near to the Northern Ireland, so we have to include Northern Ireland as well. So mostly on mixture of regions in Ireland, and Northern Ireland is for my research focus.
And that's great that you're getting a full reflection on the island of Ireland. So you're looking at all the different regions that support and show social enterprises. So you mentioned briefly that one of the big barriers that social enterprises face is digital, and their use of digital technologies. What is it, this down to lack of skill? So when they are trying to use this digital technology efficiently, what are the barriers?
The biggest challenges like can usually come down to like skills and resources. So these small social enterprises don't have staff with like very strong digital skills, and often people who are running them already stretched thin managing like daily operations. So is the skill is the most important thing. It should not be really like very complex digital skills, because for them it's just like filling out the form what might be like a big deal for them. So we should have like look into and these are the main barriers. And also funding is another big barriers, which is investing in new technologies or training can be feel like very risky, because if we look at the ROI, because training to measure back the ROI is very hard because it's just a training, and when the budgets are very tight, that is very challenging for them as well. So even when there is a real interest in going digital, these limitations can make the process quite difficult.
Yeah, and funding obviously is a huge challenge for organisations that whose primary motivation per se isn't it's a affecting positive social change. And obviously profit is part of it to keep the social enterprise running, but it's not the primary focus. So how important is it just from government to fund this kind of initiative or local communities in helping social enterprises succeed digitally?
Support is absolutely crucial, and digitalization doesn't happen in isolations. And guidance for like government programs, funding for technologies, mentoring from experienced organizations, or encouragement from local communities. All of these make a big difference. It is not just about like getting tools or money, but about creating an environment where social enterprises feel more confident and capable of using digital tools to to strengthen their missions. With the right support, even like small organizations can use technology to have a much bigger social impact.
And it's building that confidence, isn't it, really? Because the digital tools, a lot of them are readily available. So it's how do you build that confidence? I'm thinking as I'm speaking to you, Sandi, so you're looking at building a framework, and your PhD aims to create a framework, a kind of a roadmap map to help social enterprises go digital. What do you think that will look like in very simple terms, Sandi?
The framework that I'm trying to develop is really like a guideline that will shows how social enterprises can approach digital transformation in a structured and practical way. It's not about telling them like, oh, you should use these tools, or not about like more about helping them understand like how to start, what to prioritize, and who to involve. I aim to look at things like what resources and skills they already had, what kind of support networks that they can tap into, and how can they build digital strategies that actually align with their social mission and not like distract from it. But so in simpler terms, it's a roadmap that helps them go digital with purpose in a way that strengthens their social impact rather than just chasing new technology trends.
And I love that go digital with purpose, not just chasing the new shiny new thing. Um, so in terms of how could this framework help people on the ground? So you provide them with this framework and that will help them kind of navigate their digital transformation journey. Is that how it would work, Sandi, do you think?
Yes, like so that the social enterprises will understand the importance of going digital, and that they often struggle, like because they often struggle, like where to start. Well, how should I start? How to align digital tools with their missions and community goals? And so so this framework can give them a clear pathway, helping them identify what steps to take, what kind of support they might need, and how to use technology in a way that strengthens their social purpose, right? Social purpose. So for local authority and like development agencies, like this framework could serve as a reference point for designing policies or support programs, and it will also highlight the type of partnerships and resources that make digital transformations more inclusive and effective in a way that helps. It's more like we speak the same language. So the support being offered actually matches what a social enterprise really need on the ground.
Okay, and even making it in presented in an accessible way that people can understand what you're speaking about, rather than very technical jargon, which sometimes can happen. And in terms of what kinds of supportive training do social enterprises in remote areas need to really benefit from digitalisation, what kind of training do you think would be of real benefit based on the work you've done to date?
I would say there are three things that we should look at it, which is the first thing is digital skills, which I have already mentioned, is very essential, but it needs to be these digital skills training needs to be very practical and relevant. So many people actually don't really need like complex technical skills. They need to know how to use digital tools to manage their projects or just reach more customers to the target audiences and tell their stories online. So the second one is peer learning and mentoring can be incredibly powerful, where one of like the social enterprise which has successfully goes digital can teach that and others can learn from their experiences, especially if they are in a similar rural or community context. And the third one is going on ongoing support really matters, which because digital transformation is not a wartime project, it's a continuous process. So having access to all these local digital hubs, civil society networks and supporting networks, or even university partnerships can be really sustaining that momentum over time. Yeah.
And I suppose the important thing here is as we move towards this digital world, we don't leave anybody behind, especially in areas with low connectivity and low resources. So social enterprises help with that. They make sure that communities that maybe geographically distant from maybe resources or maybe not have access to resources, social enterprises help that. Is that right?
Yes, actually, this is a very important question because going digital doesn't really mean like leaving people behind. And I think it starts with remembering the fact that not every community has the same asset or same competence when it comes to technology. So in some rural places, like even a simple online form, like just I should have mentioned, can be like a huge barrier. So instead of we just push one side fits all digital solutions, we need to co-create them with the people who will actually use that. So sometimes that means that means blending digital tools with face-to-face support or using simple tech that makes a big difference, like shared online places. So digitalization should like I would say digitalization should never replace human connection, but it should strengthen it. And if we keep that in mind, we can do a digital future that truly includes everyone.
And it's kind of like almost like Chandler's study on using digital technology to support health. And it was like, have the people who are involved been involved in developing the digital solution to come up with to solve the problem that they're facing, not the problem that we think they're facing. And what advice would you give to social enterprise leaders who want to use digital tools but don't know where to start?
I would say we should start small and start simple and start with purpose. It's like we don't have to adopt every new technology or overhaul everything. It's just like the key is to think about what problems we want to solve and how digital tools can genuinely help you do what is better. And it could be as simple as improving how you communicate with your team, reaching your community through social medias, or digitizing a small part of your service or products. Once you start seeing the benefits of using digital tools, the confidence grows naturally, and you don't feel like you have to do it alone. So you can connect with the local networks, digital hubs, or other social enterprises who have gone through the process before. So peer learning is also powerful. You can learn so much from others' experience and remember that the digital transformations isn't really about technologies, it's about people, collaborations, and using tools that make your mission stronger. Yeah.
And my final question, Sandy, is what difference do you hope your research will make both for communities and for policymakers? So, if they're listening out there today, what difference do you hope your research will make?
I don't. I really want to say like my research as taking as a stepping stone. I hope it helps them feel like more confidence about using digital tools for social enterprises, showing that digital technology can be shaped around their needs and values. And I also hope it will help them feel more confident, more connected, and more supported. And for policymakers, I hope my research offers a grounded perspective, one that reflects real experiences from the field and that it can help guide more thoughtful support or even more inspire collaborations between sectors, then that means my research is serving its purpose. In the end, I want my research to be as a foundation that others can build on, something that helps connect ideas, people, and possibility for a more inclusive digital future. I think it's really something meaningful because at the heart of it is all about people and how collaborations and purpose can drive real change. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I've learned so much. And I'm just going to try and recap a little bit. So my apologies if I've missed some key points, but your research is focused on digitalisation and social enterprise ecosystems and developing a framework or a roadmap, as you've explained, for social enterprises in remote regions. What's key to this is empowering those who work in social enterprise, providing training, mentoring from experience, from IT professionals coming in and show people how to use the particular technologies to build their confidence to go digital with purpose. And I really love that phrase, go digital with purpose. One of the challenges is that, there's a lack of resources and funding, but we hope that policymakers and those social enterprises that are listening will benefit from the value of your research. Sandi, thank you so much for joining me today and giving me an insight into what is a really relevant and interesting topic. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again, Slán.